Hello and welcome back to the channel, guys. We have some pretty big news that's going on with XLM, and that could be rippling across over affecting XRP. We'll be talking more about this in just a moment, but I do want to go ahead and get things started by looking at what's going on with Bitcoin's price, because yesterday it did close out red once again. So now we have 4 days in a row. And keep in mind, it was looking pretty green at one point yesterday, hitting about $74,200. But lo and behold, we did end up below at about $72,360 and then closing out at $73,400. But looking at it today, while I'm recording the video, we are seeing a green candle, and we are also seeing that there's just a little bit of a top wick there, which would suggest that we might have an opportunity for it to keep pushing, keep setting a new daily high. And it is inching its way closer to $74,000, which it did break above yesterday. And if we can pass that, it might have some room to go towards $75,000 once again. If we zoom out a bit more, you can see that the Bollinger Band itself has been diverging a bit, and we are looking at a bottom level support line of the last 2 days right around $72,500. That is more than likely going to hold itself right now. We are in the green. It would take something pretty substantial to cause this to drop. As it is, I'd be looking more on the upside, and this is just my opinion, at around $77,600, because that is where we have the median line on the Bollinger Band. It's also just a little bit below the $78,000. You might hear some lightning, or sorry, some thunder here in just a little bit, because that was a big lightning bolt that just went on outside my window. There's a storm going on. So keep an eye at $78,100-ish, and we're going to be looking at another level at $82,500. But yes, that is not something that we expect to happen in the same day. It would be cool if it does, but the odds of that are very low. And there's that thunder. It's not as bad as I thought it was. Maybe it's further away. And looking at Bitcoin, some other elements that we have, when you have these crossover of technical indicators, you can do formations like what I have here. So it suggests a short position entry back on May 13th. And you can see it's pretty prolonged here. Now, I did talk about this in a previous video, that just because you see these time frame intervals between the previous short and longs does not mean that that is suggestive of being the same amount of spacing or the same amount of time. You can see a perfect example here with April 7th. That date going all the way to April 29th is quite extensive, and we're seeing something pretty comparable here with May 13th. So we might start to see some signs of reversal. We got to have a little bit of momentum gaining up over here. With the last 4 days of being red, we do have that possibility of a green candle, especially as we start to move into the new week. Now let's go ahead and move on to the major crypto news. People have been looking at this and suggesting that we might be seeing audiences shifting over to Stellar, that it might have more opportunities, and there's some comments going on in the community space, and I want to go ahead and go over those now. So up first, the Bearable Bull. Stellar might be the leading indicator for XRP right now. Remember, XRP and Stellar like to move together. The DTCC news for Stellar is massive. Ripple and XRP through Ripple Prime have direct ties to the DTCC. We are so back. And I'll show you guys XRP's price and go over it a little bit later, but just a little bit of a spoiler, it's doing decent. It's actually hanging in there, and it's not like this is news that's just causing XRP to dump. So there is that to take into consideration. Carolina says yesterday, after the news broke that DTCC would adopt XLM, XLM rose while XRP fell. Well, kind of. That was, I guess, actually May 28th that was talking about there. This led to a prevailing sentiment in the market. XLM will replace XRP. But those in the know understand that XLM and XRP are not positioned to replace each other. They hold some XLM, but they still have more faith in XRP, because assets with true long-term value do not lose their meaning because of a single day's market movement or a piece of news. And from Mr. Man, there are a lot of people who were XRP holders who are now rotating into XLM based on the DTCC news. That shows that you never truly understood what you held. XLM and XRP are deep in DTCC in their own way. I keep saying study. That's how you make it to the finish line. Most of you will rotate assets into oblivion. Do not be exit liquidity. Understand what's going on. The real world assets on the XRP ledger exploded 124% quarter over quarter to $2.25 billion. Nearly $1.8 trillion has been wiped out from the crypto market since October 10th. Let's go down the list. You got Bitcoin down 40%, Ethereum 54%, BNB down 49%, XRP is down 53%, Link 59%, Solana 62%, Cardano 71%, ENA down 84%, low caps are down about 95%. Meanwhile, AI stocks are up 500 to 1,000%, and the global stock market is hitting new highs. This is why sentiment is so dead and everyone is frustrated. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at BTCC. If you haven't heard of this crypto exchange has been around for 13 years. You get access to over 300 crypto futures, up to 250x leverage, no VPN or KYC required to get started. And they have bonuses. There's a 10% deposit bonus when you deposit over $500. And you can get extra bonuses all the way up to $10,055 per user. So if you want to look into this more, or if you want to get started, you can find that link in the description down below. And an update from Cointelegraph, XRP Ledger's real-world asset market cap surged 124% quarter over quarter to $2.25 billion in the first quarter of 2026, while RLUSD supply grew 45% and daily transactions jumped 35%. And banks are scared, and Jamie Dimon just admitted it. This coming from Bank XRP on Twitter. Quote, "We'll fight the Clarity Act markup. If we lose, we'll live." Bro just told on himself live on Fox Business the old system is losing grip, and they know it. And interesting, the XRP ETFs have only seen one red month, and that was back in March. So 4 green months, 1 red, and then back to back 2 green, and you can actually see that that's larger there for the month of May. ETF clients buy $11.88 million worth of XRP, bringing total ETF held net assets to $1.12 billion. And from CoinDesk, XRP funds took in $35 million, while Bitcoin and Ether ETFs lost roughly $2 billion combined. That's just in 10 days. The rotation is happening, and most people are still sleeping on it. BlackRock ETF sold $1.4 billion worth of Bitcoin this month, second largest monthly outflow since launch. And XRP report is available. This is from the XRP Ledger Foundation. It's accelerating value capture from stablecoins, real-world assets, and ETFs, all enabled by XRP and issued token integrations across the industry. XRPL security got enhanced with AI, formal verification prep, and quantum readiness roadmap. And a lot of lightning going on inside. XRP's price, let's go ahead and take a quick look at what's going on in the price charts. We had 2 days of green. So if we go back to May 28th, it did drop down pretty substantially to $1.26. But guess what? Came back, actually closed out on the day green. It started off at $1.30 and it moved all the way up to $1.31. So a gain of 1 cent over the day. And at one point actually hitting a high up at $1.33, almost $1.34. And then yesterday had a low of $1.29 and ended up closing out at $1.32, almost $1.30, $1.33 I should say. And here we are at $1.34. So it's moving about 1 cent a day. And as I mentioned previously in another video, my bottom level of support on this triangle formation, lo and behold, we got a bounce off of it, right? It got rejected at $1.36. Tried to get back into that safe zone and just didn't quite be able to manage it. So seeing that rejection take place, it's not a fun situation to see. But the good news is that as I did keep this as it was a theory of mine that we might be trying to retest that, lo and behold, we saw the rejection, which just goes to show you that we do have a pretty substantial opportunity here. If it can manage to break through this bottom level of that triangle, it would then enter back within this channel zone, and we have an opportunity as this gets closer and closer to potentially break out of the top level of that triangle formation. And yes, we could potentially be zooming things out even more, because if we end up dropping down this bottom level of support like this, it's going to extend out that timeline. We might be looking going into July until things actually start to make major moves. If this just kind of bounces around, wiggling a little bit close to the $1.40 zone, it does make sense psychologically. It is something that we also have here on the Fibonacci retracement zone. So it's a very substantial point. And then we can also go ahead and zoom in a bit. We've got the Bollinger Band itself starting to expand out more. So we might be seeing larger levels of volume compared to what we've been seeing. And I'll keep you guys posted. So let me know what you think about all this. Share your thoughts with us down in the comments below. And thank you everyone for your support. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and my YouTube members. God bless you guys. I'm Crypto Atlas over on Patreon. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.